Divine message revealed with you now. Experience miraculous transformation today. In the heart of a quaint English village, nestled between rolling hills and sun-drenched meadows, lay the little church where hope blossomed amid despair. Sarah, a devoted mother with a heart as wide as the sky, poured herself into her family and community. Days were filled with laughter, the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the comforting presence of familiar faces. But everything changed the day they received the news that her eldest son, Tom, had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. The wind seemed to hush as she heard the words, "Only weeks to live." A storm brewed in her heart, threatening to drown her in despair. Villagers gathered around, their faces etched with concern, their voices rising in prayer. Fervent petitions sent to St. Jude, known for interceding in hopeless causes. "God is here," the old vicar exclaimed, gripping the pulpit as if it were a lifeline. Desperation drove Sarah to the local retreat, hoping to find solace and strength. In the quiet chapel, amid flickering candles casting warm glows upon the walls, Sarah prayed earnestly, seeking a sign from the Almighty. Tears streamed down her cheeks, mixing with whispers of faith resonating in the air. Suddenly, a rush of warmth enveloped her, and she heard it. A prophetic word echoed sweetly. "Remain steadfast in prayer, and a miraculous healing awaits." Hope ignited within her, but skepticism gnawed at her edges. Family members shared worried glances, trembling at the thought of her unwavering optimism leading to deeper heartbreak. Her heart vacillated between that divine promise and the scientific realities laid bare by the doctors. Chasing after every glimmer of hope in medical remedies, moments of despair would crash over her like waves, pulling her deeper into a sea of uncertainty. But one crisp evening, surrounded by the faithful in the village church, the air thickened with anticipation. As they clasped hands, a profound hush fell over the congregation. Hearts beat in unison, and murmurs faded into silence. Suddenly, an inexplicable presence washed over them, like dawn breaking upon the night. Sarah felt a warm breath, an unseen embrace reminding her she was not alone. In the depths of that prayer, a flicker of light burst forth from the altar, illuminating the faces of the gathered community, washing away doubt and rekindling faith. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In that moment of raw devotion, a silence echoed louder than thunder. The power of collective faith filled the room, alive and pulsing with newfound energy. Suddenly, amidst the overwhelming presence, Tom burst through the doors, vibrant and smiling as if reborn. Whispered prayers turned to jubilant cries, reverberating within the church walls, enveloping the village in awe. "It's a miracle!" people exclaimed, tears of joy cascading as hearts soared in gratitude. But as the village danced in celebration, joy also brought questions to Sarah. Was the miracle just for Tom, or was it a divine message for everyone? The miracle awakened something dormant in the village, but now deeper divides began to appear. Would her faith be strong enough to unite them all in the face of whispered doubts? The wonder of transformation left a shimmering question hanging in the air, urging Sarah forward into uncharted waters where divine intrigue awaited. The sun sank behind the hills, casting a golden glow upon the village as twilight painted the skies in hues of lavender and peach. The air buzzed with conversation, yet beneath the surface, unease lurked like shadows flickering at the edges of a candle's glow. Sarah stood at the heart of it all, gazing at Tom, who was now embraced by the warmth of miraculous healing. Still, a small voice within her questioned the fragility of this newfound joy. Can it really last? She pondered, longing to hold on to the miracle while wrestling with the echoes of despair that had once engulfed her. It was a bittersweet moment, a blending of joy and fear, reminding her that life often balances on a knife's edge. As the village celebrated, laughter erupted like joyful notes spilling from a harp, but Sarah felt an emptiness within. Ribbons of doubt tugged at her heart, whispering that the miracle might be fleeting. Was it truly a divine gift, or merely the result of coincidence and collective hope? She cast her gaze to the villagers surrounding her, their faces illuminated by the flickering candles, filled with jubilant praise. They were witnesses to something extraordinary, yet a hidden division began to simmer beneath their unity. "I'm grateful," Sarah called out, raising her hands in praise, "but we must stand together. This miracle is not just for Tom, it speaks to us all." She looked each villager in the eye, searching for understanding, a shared grip of faith that could unite them in this moment of divine wonder. A ripple of murmurs raced through the crowd, some with heads bowed, others lifting their eyes to the heavens, hesitant but curious. Nathan, a man known for his skepticism, pushed through the throng. "Miracles can't just happen without reason. What if this is a trick? What if despair awaits once more?" His words fell heavy, and gasps of disbelief mingled with whispers of support for Sarah's faith. But in her heart, Sarah sensed a profound truth, a spark that ignited the embers of hope lingering in the air. "Miracles defy our logic, Nathan," she implored gently, the sincerity of her spirit rising to meet his doubt. "It's in those inexplicable moments that God reveals his love. This is just the beginning of something beautiful." As she spoke, she felt the warm breath of divine presence enveloping her once more, urging her to remain steadfast. Her heart cried out, not just for her son, but for the village, their collective healing, their shared faith. She turned to the altar, where flickering candles danced, casting shimmering reflections of faith against the walls. "Let us not squander this moment," she called again, her voice rising with fervor. "Let us share our burdens, our joys, and our fears. United, we'll find the strength to embrace whatever comes." The villagers stirred, uncertainty still etched on their faces, but the essence of her encouragement slowly chipped away at the walls of doubt. One by one, they began to step forward, joining hands and crafting a human chain of support, forming a circle around Sarah. Light glimmered in the eyes of those who dared to believe again. As the night deepened, the congregation prayed, not just for Tom, but for one another. In their earnest supplications, peace settled like a soft blanket, casting aside the lingering shadows of doubt. A transformation was taking place, an awakening of spirits bound together by hope, love, and the divine promise of healing. But as Sarah peered into the faces of her friends, a question loomed in her heart, urging her onward. Could this miracle bridge the divides that lay hidden in their hearts? The soft whisper of the evening breeze carried her thoughts, hinting at the challenges yet to unfold. With newfound resolve, Sarah embraced the sacred mystery that still beckoned, knowing there were deeper revelations awaiting just beyond their grasp. The night wore on, wrapping the village in a cocoon of tranquility. Yet amid the hushed prayers, the warmth of hands clasped together, Sarah continued to feel that stirring question within her. She looked around, taking in the mingled faces of joy and confusion, hope and doubt. Each villager was a vibrant thread in God's tapestry, yet each bore silent burdens that seemed to stretch indefinitely. "Let us share our stories," Sarah called out suddenly, her voice breaking the solemn calm. Each of us carries a piece of this miracle. It is through our collective voices that we will discover what God intends for us. There was a pause, a collective inhale. The flicker of the candles and the stars overhead seemed to lean in, listening. Then, as if on cue, a timid hand rose from the crowd. It belonged to Mary, a woman whose losses were known to many. "I felt abandoned," Mary confessed, her voice trembling. "My husband passed last winter. I thought I would never sing again, but I sat by Tom's hospital bed and prayed so deeply for his recovery. When I heard he was healed, I couldn't believe it. I dared to hope again." Applause broke through the air. Encouragement mingling with tears. Encouraged by Mary's vulnerability, others began to share too. There was John, who recalled the sting of betrayal that had carved a chasm between him and his brother. There was Elise, who spoke of her long battle with illness, a struggle she thought might never resolve. With every revelation, an invisible thread wove tighter, drawing the villagers closer together, freed by the power of truth. As stories unfurled, something miraculous began to happen. Each shared burden, each confession of doubt and faith, acted as a balm over the collective heart of the village. Sarah sensed the divine radiance growing among them. It was the light of understanding, illuminating the darkness of isolation. Tears spilled freely, intermingled with laughter, and apologies were whispered like sacred incantations. Amidst this atmosphere of reclamation, Sarah felt a profound stirring within her soul. She raised her hands once more, the soft glow of candlelight casting a halo around her. Brothers and sisters, this is where our healing truly begins. By embracing our pain and celebrating our joys together, we invite God to dwell with us. At that moment, Sarah felt an overwhelming surge of energy. It was as though the very air had thickened with divine grace. The villagers were no longer mere spectators. They were participants in a celestial play, a gathering where the Holy Spirit was palpably present, weaving their narratives into something transcendent. Yet even as hope surged, a flicker of concern danced at the edges of her mind. What if we falter? What if our fears return? She thought, battling the doubts that always seemed to linger just out of view. Just then, Nathan stood up, a transformation palpable in his demeanor. "I came here today with a heart of skepticism," he admitted, "but seeing you all, seeing Tom, and hearing your stories, I feel something I can't quite express. Maybe, just maybe, there's more than what we see. We need to pursue this together and discover how far it leads." His bold declaration sent ripples of hope coursing through the crowd. "Yes," they responded in unison. A wave of agreement washed over the villagers, a distinct chorus that echoed into the night sky. As Sarah beamed at the growing unity, a resounding silence followed. In that tranquil hush, she understood. These newfound bonds were not just a reaction to Tom's healing. They were the very seeds of a deeper spiritual awakening, a divine journey beginning to unfold. With a gentle smile, she acknowledged her part in this unfolding drama. They were all in this together, walking the path of faith side by side, led by the promise that God was not distant, but intimately woven into their journey. Yet still, her heart whispered an urgent question. What further trials awaited them? What great lessons lay ahead in this intricate web they had woven? With anticipation sparking in her heart, Sarah felt ready to find out. The air felt thick with expectation, the villagers hanging on the moment with bated. As they basked in this warm glow of community, Sarah sensed a deep current of divine energy flowing among them. It surged like an invisible river, ready to open wider and invite them into deeper waters. "Tonight," Sarah began, her voice firm yet gentle, "we stand on sacred ground. Each of you has spoken your truth, and in doing so, you have loosened the chains of isolation. We are not alone. Our struggles are threads woven into a larger story, a tapestry God is crafting with love." The crowd stirred, heads nodding and murmurs of agreement softly rising, like leaves dancing in a gentle breeze. Then, suddenly, the stars above flickered as if responding. There was a noteworthy silence. It felt almost alive. It held within it an invitation. Sarah could hardly contain her excitement as she continued. "Who among us will be the flame that ignites change? Who is ready to take a step forward into this promise?" It was then that Johnny, an impetuous youth known for his wayward ways, rose quietly from the back, his face transformed from apprehension to hope. "I've tried to run away from my past," he spoke, his voice shaking yet resolute. "But that just led me into deeper darkness. God saved Tom, and I believe he can save me too. I want to embrace the light." The atmosphere exploded with joy. Cheers erupted, hands clapping in celebration of his courage. In that instant, something inside Johnny seemed to awaken. The warmth of acceptance enveloped him, a tangible reminder of God's grace. As the villagers celebrated, Sarah felt the Holy Spirit sweeping through them like a gust of wind. It was a divine embrace, a call to witness even greater miracles. Their candles burned brighter, illuminating the depths of their hearts. Then Elise stepped forward, her voice emanating like a soft hymn. "I have struggled for so long, doubting if I would ever understand my journey," she confessed. "But tonight, I choose to believe I am not alone in my pain. I am part of this family, bound by faith." The crowd responded with heartfelt affirmations, and Sarah's heart swelled. It seemed each story shared the power to heal. Hope spread like wildfire, igniting even the faintest flicker of faith in newly awakened souls. Sarah began to notice their burdens lifting, and as they did, brighter connections formed among them. Just then, the clear notes of laughter echoed from the village square, where a child ran, stepping lightly from shadow into light. The innocence radiated bright, weaving through the adults and reminding them of simple joys. "Every tear we shed becomes a seed," Sarah murmured, feeling the sacred presence rise within her. "Every blessing manifests as grace in action, binding us closer together." As the candle flame danced, Sarah felt an urgency grow within her. They were being called not just to celebrate, but to act. What would they do with this new faith? "Let us not close this moment here," she implored. Stepping forward, her eyes alight with possibility. "Our stories, our faith, we're meant to share these with the world. Let's reach out to others in need, spread our light beyond these walls." As the villagers exchanged glances filled with determination and yearning, Sarah knew they stood on the threshold of something beautiful. Yet a shadow of concern crept back into her heart, softly whispering, "Will they truly follow through? What challenges will arise as they step out?" The night was rich with potential, and as they breathed in the fresh air, Sarah felt faith propelling them forward into the unknown. But what awaited them on this pathway? What divine mission lay ahead, marked by both trials and triumphs? With uncertainty woven through her thoughts, Sarah held her breath, ready to discover what came next. The ground beneath their feet thrummed with life as the villagers continued to celebrate Johnny's bravery. Laughter mixed with shouts of encouragement, and Sarah felt her spirit swell in tune with the rising tide of joy. But in the depths of her heart, she sensed a stirring, a message waiting to emerge, a truth longing to be unveiled. The air became electric, charged with divine promise. "Remember," she called out, her voice ringing above the clamor, "every step we take in faith is a step closer to God's heart. With that, she glanced around, noticing the glistening eyes of those gathered, reflecting the flickering candlelight. They were hungry for transformation, ready for something more profound. And then a soft, sweet voice broke through. "Sarah?" It was Lucy, a timid woman known for her kindness, but often overshadowed by the louder voices in their community. What if we're not enough?" An uneasy hush followed her words. It was a question many held but dared not speak. Sarah could feel the weight of doubt in the air. Swallowing her own uncertainty, she stepped closer to Lucy, kneeling so their eyes met at the same level. "Lucy, my dear," she said gently, "often we forget that God multiplies our small efforts into something magnificent. Just think of the loaves and fishes. What seems small to us contains the potential for abundance." A flicker of understanding passed through Lucy's eyes, and Sarah's heart leapt. Step by step, God was bringing clarity and hope. Then, to everyone's surprise, the wind picked up, swirling around them as if echoing the divine conversation. Leaves rustled in a symphony of whispers. The clouds parted slightly, allowing streaks of moonlight to pour through, casting an ethereal glow on the gathering. "See?" Sarah raised her arms, embracing the moment. "God is with us, moving in ways we cannot yet see. The night holds both promise and challenge. If He is our shepherd, how can we ever fear the journey?" Tears glistened on some cheeks, joy crafted from the melting away of doubt. They turned towards one another, their voices merging into a chorus of prayer, hearts bound by shared resolve. It was as if the atmosphere of their village had transformed, kissed by the breath of the Spirit. And from the back, Paul, an elderly man with a weathered face but a youthful spirit, stepped unexpectedly forward. "I've lived many seasons," he began, voice trembling, "and I know pain like an old friend. But I also know that hope, once ignited, can make even the bleakest souls shine. Let us build a bridge to those lost in their trials, just as we have found shelter and grace." A powerful cheer echoed back to him, the warmth of acceptance radiating among the villagers. In that instant, the path forward became clearer. They were not just called to shield their newfound light, they were being sent out to shine brightly to the world despising darkness. "Let's gather our resources," Sarah urged, her heart racing with excitement. "We can establish a food pantry. We can host prayer meetings and share our stories of strength. Together, we can be vessels of compassion and kindness, pouring out love into every crevice of need." With every word, the villagers began to move nearer to each other, ideas exchanged, hands grasped, and spirits aligned in purpose. They were a tapestry of hope, woven tighter with each pledge made in faith. Yet, as the conversation flowed, Sarah felt a fresh wave of excitement and trepidation wash over her. Would they stay united in their mission? The desire for transformation was strong, but she sensed challenges lurking in the shadows. "What uncertainties will we face as we step out in faith?" she pondered. And just as quickly, a whisper came. "What if this journey is the very trial that tests our faith and fortifies our community?" With that, they stepped together into the thriving heart of the night, each heartbeat a reminder of their commitment and their calling. Sarah felt peace cradle her spirit, yet she knew the path ahead would demand courage she had yet to find. And so, with hands clasped and hearts open, they prepared to walk into the calling that lay before them. But as the first step was taken, Sarah felt the wind shift. What more was God about to reveal? What trials would surface amidst their newfound unity? In the warm embrace of the night, the divine mystery of their journey waited just beyond the horizon. As they stood beneath the shimmering stars, a silent reverence settled over the gathered villagers. Their breaths mingled in the stillness, hearts pulsing as one. Sarah felt the power of the night's promise. It was tangible, almost as if God himself was whispering encouragement into their souls. "Let's not forget," she began, her voice gentle but firm, "our journey has only just begun. Every act of kindness, every meal shared, strengthens our bond with each other." There was warmth in her words, a fire igniting within those who listened. Eyes sparkled with renewed purpose as each person shifted slightly, physically and spiritually aligning more closely. Suddenly, a young boy named Thomas stepped forward, eyes wide with innocence, unburdened by the weight of doubt. "Miss Sarah," he exclaimed, "can we have a story of faith? It helps me remember that God's strength is always with us." Laughter bubbled up as others nodded, the joy of the moment cascading around them like the night sky. "Of course, Thomas," Sarah replied, her heart swelling at his enthusiasm. "Let me tell you about the time Moses led the people through the sea. It was a time of great fear, but God parted the waters. He was their guide, their protector, just like He is with us now." As her story unfolded, the villagers hung on her every word, picturing the miraculous escape, the fearless march through the unknown. She wove the narrative with imagery, guiding her listeners through waves of anxiety turned into triumph, a message of divine assistance ringing true through the ages. Just as she reached the climax, thunder rumbled softly in the distance. A shiver of anticipation coursed through Sarah. With each clap, it seemed to echo her words, a divine agreement. She could feel the spirit moving. "God took away their fear," she continued, her spirit buoyed by the thunder in the sky, "and made a way where there was none. He put courage in their hearts, just as He is doing for us tonight. We are together in this, lifting each other up." A murmur rippled through the crowd, a live resonance of hope mingling with the crackling energy of faith. As they absorbed her tale, their unity deepened. Fears began to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Paul stepped forward again, his face illuminated by the flickering flames of nearby lanterns. "What if we prayed not just for ourselves, but for the people beyond our borders, for those lost in despair?" His suggestion fell like a soft rain, soaking into the soil of their hearts. Eyes closed, the villagers began to whisper prayers, some spoken aloud, others shared in the sanctuary of silence. Each voice intertwined, forming a beautiful tapestry of collective hope, reaching out into the void that had held despair captive. In that moment, the air thickened with grace. As the wind picked up, it felt like a gentle caress, a reminder that they were not alone, carrying their burdens in unity towards the divine. Yet deep inside, uncertainty tinged the air like distant thunder. Would their faith withstand the trials yet to come? Would they bridge the gaps of misunderstanding that lay between them and those they sought to help? As the final prayer echoed into the night, Sarah opened her eyes to the glowing faces around her, illuminated not just by the lanterns, but by a shared light of hope. Would they be able to brace themselves for the challenges that the journey ahead would unveil? In the heartbeat of that sacred moment, the promise of God's adventure lay waiting. But what would the road reveal? What unforeseen obstacles would fortify or fracture their faith? God's presence lingered heavily, and the night whispered of mysteries yet to unfold, inviting them deeper into the divine narrative. As the villagers gradually opened their eyes, the atmosphere around them shimmered with an energy that felt newly charged. Conversations bubbled softly, the air filled with an undercurrent of expectation and wonder. It seemed as though the stars above watched quietly, anticipating the unfolding of something significant. "Did you feel that?" a woman named Marie whispered to her husband, her voice laced with awe. No ordinary night could hold such power. Others nodded, reflecting on the collective energy of their moment together. Hearts were stirred, minds whirled with possibilities. The prayers they had poured forth hung in the air like fragrant incense, an offering prepared for divine ears. "Let's sing," someone proposed, a man named David who often led the villagers in song. He lifted his voice in a familiar melody, a simple hymn that carried an ancient truth. At first, hesitant notes slipped from the lips of the villagers, but soon the fear diminished, replaced by strength. Their voices wove together like a beautiful tapestry, an unbreakable cord of faith lifting towards the night sky. Each note seemed to shake loose the restraints of doubt, and the melody echoed into the vast expanse, a tribute to the one they loved. In that moment, joy erupted, tears spilled, hands raised, smiles broadened. Each note held a prayer, a declaration that they believed, truly believed, that God was near. Sarah closed her eyes, allowing herself to get lost in the reverberations of shared praise. She felt an undeniable warmth wrap around her heart. The thunder in the distance now felt more like a drumbeat, underscoring the rhythm of their faith-filled voices. As the song reached its crescendo, a sudden hush enveloped the group. A chilling breeze swept through, carrying with it whispers of something greater, an unseen presence that solidified their call into the divine. Then a light flickered on the horizon, illuminating the path leading from their village. "What is that?" Thomas asked, eyes wide with wonder as the glowing light stretched outward, casting shadows that danced in rhythm with their beating hearts. "It feels like hope," whispered Marie, "hope that calls us to move forward." And they all felt it, the pull of something beyond their understanding. It invited them to press on, to seize the moment, and step into the unfolding narrative that awaited them. Paul took a deep breath. God might be preparing something incredible. What if that light is a sign, a blessing meant for us? His voice reverberated with conviction, awakening a deeper longing in their souls. It ignited a spark, like kindling catching flame. "Can we trust that God is leading us?" David added, hope sparking in his gaze. "Even if we can't see the road ahead?" The villagers looked at one another, a blend of courage and apprehension swirling in their hearts. The journey would undoubtedly be fraught with uncertainty. Curiosity surged within them all. What awaited beyond the light? "Let's follow it together," Sarah encouraged, her voice steady despite the growing weight of possibility. "If we seek him, he will show us the way." As they began to move, the weight of the unknown was heavy, but the weight of each other's encouragement was heavier still. They stepped forward, hearts pounding, fueled by faith and the shared hope of their adventure. What awaited them on the path illuminated by that divine light? What challenges, blessings, or transformations lay just beyond their reach? God's mystery beckoned, charging them forward into the unknown. The villagers stepped into the shimmering light, hearts racing with a potent blend of courage and trepidation. The air buzzed with divine energy, vibrant and alive, as if spirit and nature conspired to escort them on this sacred journey. With every footfall, the glow seemed to pulse in harmony with their faith, urging them forward. "Look how it dances," Thomas exclaimed, pointing to the luminescent strands swirling about them. "It's as if it's alive." "Alive with hope," Marie echoed, her spirit soaring as she matched the rhythm of the light. Each flicker seemed to echo their unspoken dreams and aspirations. The path before them twisted and turned, lined with whispering trees that appeared as if they were ancient guardians of the way. Their leaves shimmered like emerald jewels, rustling softly as if to offer encouragement. Sarah felt a sense of comfort wash over her, realizing that nature itself bore witness to their pilgrimage. "Do you think God is truly leading us?" David's voice was soft but filled with wonder. "Are we ready for what comes next?" "Ready or not, here we go," Paul responded with a smile, stepping ahead buoyed by a joyful anticipation. His laughter rang out, cutting through the golden stillness, but also echoing confidence in God's guidance. As they ventured deeper, the breeze transformed into melodic whispers, caressing their ears with gentle truths. Words of love, of courage, wrapped around them like a warm embrace. With every step, shadows of doubt began to fall away, replaced by a conviction that they were not alone. God was with them, guiding them gently towards their destiny. Suddenly, the path opened into a vast clearing where the light seemed to burst forth with unparalleled intensity. It felt like the heart of the universe was before them, pulsing with life and promise. Streaks of brilliant colors danced through the air as if the twilight sky had woven a tapestry of divine joy. "Wow," gasped Marie, her breath catching at the beauty. "It's like heaven on earth." "More than we could ever imagine," Sarah whispered, her heart swelling with gratitude. "This is a glimpse of His glory." In the center of the clearing stood a massive stone, edged with symbols that felt familiar yet mysterious. The villagers approached it cautiously, drawn in by the presence that enveloped it. The air shimmered with anticipation, an unfathomable feeling stirred within. David raised a hand to touch the stone, feeling the cool surface pulse. Beneath his fingertips, at that moment, the light converged, casting down shimmering beams that danced around them like playful fireflies. In its presence, they could hear the soft whispers more clearly, words of encouragement that spoke deeply to their hearts. "You are seen. You are heard. You are loved." The villagers exchanged glances filled with awe and wonder. Tears of joy streamed down Sarah's cheeks as she felt every word resonate within her soul. This was a divine calling, an affirmation that they were indeed walking in God's perfect light. "What does it mean?" Thomas wondered aloud as new questions bubbled within him. "Are there messages for us?" A deep silence fell, each heartbeat in synchrony, a palpable prayer lingering in the air. Anticipation crackled like thunder as they awaited the next revelation. "Perhaps it is time to ask," Paul suggested, a gentle smile spreading across his face. "What is He telling us?" As they stood united, they felt a collective resolve to seek understanding. They were a community bound together, each with their own journey, yet all moving toward the same divine purpose. In that moment, they sensed a shift in the air, a stirring of promise. Something greater lay just beyond their perceptions, beckoning them to inquire deeper and embrace the unfolding mystery of God's plan. What awaited them in response to their inquiry? What truths would emerge in the sacred stillness that enveloped them? God's voice was about to unveil a new chapter. The silence hung thick around them, the anticipation almost tangible. The villagers stood together, hearts pounding in expectation, eyes fixed on the luminous stone. It felt as if time itself paused, cradling the weight of their collective wish to understand more, to be enveloped deeper in God's destiny. As they breathed in the sweetness of the moment, a gentle wind began to swirl around them, serving as a reminder of the divine presence they sensed. It weaved through their hopes, whispering affirmations that ignited their spirits. Then, as if in response to their shared inquiry, the surface of the stone shimmered to life. A brilliant light burst forth from its depths, illuminating the clearing in blinding radiance. Gasps filled the air, not from fear, but from awe. The villagers shielded their eyes, yet felt drawn to the brilliance like moths to a flame. In the radiant glow, images began to appear, visions dancing with colors more vivid than any earthly creation. "Look!" Marie shouted, her voice nearly drowned out by the soft rumble of energy pulsing through the clearing. Do you see that? It's like a story unfolding. Indeed, the visions depicted scenes of unity and love, kindness that transcended boundaries. The villagers watched as moments of community service, compassion, and unwavering faith came alive in front of them. It was a tapestry of their own lives, interwoven with the lives of others. I recognize that. It's Old Man Harris helping the widow, David exclaimed, pointing towards a glowing figure offering aid to someone in need. Tears of gratitude flowed as they recognized their own journeys reflecting in these divine images. Each scene resonated deeply within them, heralding a call to action, a call to not only receive, but to also give, to serve, to share in the love that inspired their very pilgrimage. As the visions gained clarity, a soft voice filled the air, sweet, powerful, and enveloping. My beloveds, your hearts have questioned and sought. I have heard your pleas. You are called to be vessels of light. The villagers leaned in, entranced. The voice continued. The kindness you've shown in your lives has rippled out into the world. Do not underestimate the power of your love. It has the ability to heal, to inspire, and to transform. A wave of warmth washed over them, as if the very essence of love wrapped around each villager like a comforting cloak. Hearts swelled with hope. The message resonated through the depths of their souls, revealing divine purpose where doubts had once reigned. Go forth and be bold, the voice declared, the rhythm of each word echoing with the urgency of a divine commission. Spread the light that has been gifted to you. In sharing, you multiply its power. Together, Sarah breathed, feeling the connection between each of them strengthen. We can change lives. Paul nodded, an inspired smile brightening his face. We are meant to act, to shine brightly in a world that longs for hope. Suddenly, the light from the stone expanded, touching each villager. They felt invigorated, hearts racing, not with fear, but with newfound purpose. God was here, guiding them onward, wrapping them in a promise that though the journey ahead would not always be easy, they would always be accompanied by His love. As the visions faded, the villagers found themselves back in the clearing, enveloped in peace. Yet questions began to stir within them again. What steps would they take next? How could they begin to manifest this calling? Paul turned to the group, his eyes alight with determination. This isn't just a message, it's our mission. Let's talk about how we can bring this light into our community. The air still shimmered with energy, thick with untapped potential. They were on the cusp of something remarkable, ready to embrace the next chapter of their collective story. Yet deep down, a quiet whisper beckoned. What challenges lay before them as they sought to shine brighter in the world? How would they navigate the path of service, love, and transformation that was now theirs to tread? The villagers looked at one another, hearts united with purpose and determination. They could feel the divine charge in the air, urging them to take tangible steps towards fulfilling their calling. We must come together regularly, Sarah proclaimed, her eyes sparkling with fervor. Let's form a committee. We'll unite our efforts to reach the wider community, sharing our stories and what we've learned here. Excitement rippled through the crowd, and one by one, hands began to raise. I can organize meals for those in need, exclaimed Mary, her voice bright with newfound hope. I can help with resources, Nathan added, his skepticism replaced with enthusiasm. I've got connections, and the community needs to know we stand ready to help. The air buzzed with ideas, plans to create a food pantry, counseling sessions for those navigating grief, and outreach programs for the lonely. Each suggestion echoed the spark of light they had experienced that night, manifesting into concrete actions aimed at love and healing. Yet amidst the flurry of excitement, doubts began to arise within Sarah again. Would they all remain committed? Would they grow weary when the initial excitement subsided? Questions lingered, but she felt an invigorating resolve. "We must share this responsibility," she urged, "so that we can lean on one another in times of challenge." Their commitment solidified. The villagers instinctively linked hands again in a circle, the love among them palpable. With heads bowed, they prayed, not just for their efforts, but for inner strength that would carry them forward. It was a prayer for unity, resilience, and unwavering faith. In that moment, a soft breeze swept through the clearing, wrapping them in a gentle embrace. God's presence lingered, as if affirming their commitment and blessing each initiative taking root in their hearts. "Let's gather at this very place next week," Sarah suggested, her heart overflowing with faith. "We can share our progress, our struggles, and lift each other up." As the group began to disperse, an air of joy accompanied each villager, a feeling that transcended their individual burdens, now shared as a collective journey towards healing. It was a thread woven into a tapestry far beyond any one person, a beautiful affirmation of God's love through community. Days flowed into weeks, each gathering serving as a wellspring of encouragement. They prayed together, shared meals, and learned from each other's stories. Slowly, the villagers began to reach out to their neighbors, tending to the needs that had long gone ignored. With each act of kindness, blessings began to multiply in ways they never expected. New friendships bloomed, old misunderstandings healed, and hearts started knitting into a fabric of deep connection and understanding. But as they grew in love, challenges arose, as they inevitably do. Some villagers faced external trials, as doubts crept back in when skepticism met faith. Sarah knew that unity would be tested, and with that thought, she sought God in prayer. "Father, guide us through these challenges," she whispered fervently on those nights when uncertainty clouded her spirit. "Help us stay tethered to your light, confident in your purpose." God answered, not with words, but through the signs sent her way. A child's laughter, the blossoming flowers in spring, the hopeful glimmers in the eyes of her community. Each reminder echoed the miracle of transformation they'd experienced together, whispering that they were on the right path. And then came the day, a day where they held their first community gathering, extending love beyond the village itself. The church swelled with neighbors from surrounding areas, drawn by word of mouth or the flicking light of faith that danced in their hearts. As the doors opened wide, a flood of souls entered, glancing around in awe at the warmth and joy that permeated the building. People shared meals, laughter, and stories of overcoming adversity. They broke down the barriers that had held them captive for so long. "I never thought I'd return," admitted a newcomer, a shy elder named Margaret, her voice trembling with vulnerability. "But your light called me home." The villagers embraced her, wrapping her in love and acceptance, and Sarah felt tears of gratitude swell in her heart, proving God's love transcended all divides. Yet, Sarah remained aware of the struggles that lay ahead. This newfound unity was a fragile bloom in the landscape of life. The journey could take many twists and turns, but as hope filled her heart, she remembered the azure sky beyond, where divine grace poured down like rain, washing over lives in need. And she knew, with every fiber of her being, that they'd face every trial together, fueled by faith and love that could conquer darkness. And as the stars twinkled over the village that night, a soft reminder settled in Sarah's heart, a promise that the work was far from over. They had ventured forth into the world, stepping boldly into the light, but their journey was only beginning. With renewed purpose, they would continue to spread the light, sharing their blessings with those still waiting to know that they were seen, heard, and loved. God had called them to be vessels of His grace, and they would shine brightly for all to see. So now, dear friends, as you read this story of hope and transformation, remember, you too are called. Let your light shine brightly. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that will uplift you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, helping us share love and hope with more hearts. comment below and share your reactions and testimonies about this divine journey. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of God's glory. Your actions can change lives.